I'm speaking to you today as the parent of a young woman who declared a transgender identity aged 17, a month prior to turning 18, completely out of the blue. So many parents feel that they cannot speak out for fear of harming the relationship with their child. I'm speaking because, as I have sadly discovered over the last 3 years, this phenomenon is much, much bigger than my family, and we most certainly do need to talk about it and raise awareness of what is being done to our children. Our daughter has just turned 21 and has been in the transgender bubble for just over 3 years. She had been estranged from us for the past year. However, she miraculously reached out to us exactly 1 week ago. For that reason, the last week has been a very emotional one for our family. There has been so much damage done, and the healing process will be a long and rocky road. Yet right now, I have a glimmer of hope that I certainly did not have when I started writing this speech several weeks ago. Our daughter was raised in a loving and supportive family. She has 3 older half-brothers who are now 31, 33, and 36, and a younger brother who is now 16. They were all raised by us in the same loving way as we raised our daughter. We have a fabulous relationship with all of her brothers. Growing up, she was not particularly girly and did not like dolls, for example. But I thought nothing of that because I hated dolls as a kid, and I was a bit of a tomboy myself. She loved soccer and handball. She was a brown belt in Taekwondo. She tried so many extracurricular activities: dance, singing, gymnastics, swimming, tennis, to name a few. She used to walk with me every morning when I walked our dogs and went to the gym with me as well. She enjoyed shopping with me and choosing her own clothes. We would go and have our nails painted together. We would go to plays and concerts together. We had such a close and loving relationship. She was very smart and did really well at school. She was bullied at school, and as a result of the bullying and the lack of support from the school, we moved her to a new school when she was 13 years old. That went well for the first 2 years, and she had a stable friendship group of really lovely girls. Around the time she turned 15, she switched friendship groups. The new group had a girl who did not identify as a girl, and that was my first introduction to gender ideology. I felt that the new friends had a very negative influence on our daughter. Our daughter started experiencing mental health problems in early 2016, shortly after turning 15, and around the same time she changed friendship groups. For 3 years, while she was 15, 16, and 17, these mental health problems continued. We moved through both the public system, called CAMS, here, the Child and Adolescent Mental Health Service, and the private mental health systems in our efforts to find help for our daughter. We collected diagnoses of anxiety, depression, bipolar, and possible borderline personality disorder in that 3-year period. We took our daughter to over 70 medical appointments related to her mental health in that 3-year period. At all times, we were treated well by the medical professionals who were treating our daughter. We were described as loving and supportive parents. Our daughter did not respond well to medication for the anxiety and depression. It actually made her feel worse. When we declined to continue with medication, both in the public and the private clinical settings, at no time were we criticised or treated badly by the medical professionals who are treating our daughter. CAMS said they would not see her anymore if she was not medicalised, but by then we had found a private psychiatrist and he did not insist on medicalisation. CAMS most certainly did not try to report us to Child Protection Services or badmouth us because we did not want to medicalise our daughter for her mental health problems. We were focusing on diet, exercise, love, support and psychotherapy. Over 2018, our daughter's mental health became much worse. We found out she was cutting herself and binge eating. She'd always been very conscious of what she ate in a healthy way, as she'd been a vegetarian for several years. In hindsight, I believe that this time period was when she started focusing on transgender. She ended up having a 4-week admission to the mental health ward of a local private hospital in June of 2018, as it reached the point that she was refusing to get out of bed and refusing to go to school. When she came out of hospital after those 4 weeks, she went and cut her hair short. The next few months were an extremely traumatic period for our family. She barely attended school, became aggressive and verbally abusive towards us and her younger brother. She was lying, stealing, binge eating, and would not do anything that we asked her to do. I found out she was smoking marijuana. If we wanted to go out as a family with her younger brother to, say, a soccer match, she would declare she was anxious and suicidal so that I could not go. She became extremely manipulative. The stress we were under was enormous. Our son was 13 at that point in time, and the distress of her abusive behaviour caused him to become anorexic. I remember him curling up in a fetal position on the floor and sobbing, begging her to stop her out-of-control behaviour. I guess our son saw that his intake of food was the one thing that he could control. We were pretty much shattered as a family. I remember sitting in her GP's office sobbing and begging for help. It really was a nightmare. I believe it was over this time period she started to become engrossed with online trans sites. I later found a history in her web browser full of trans searches and sites. Then in October 2018, she announced all over social media that she was in fact a male named Josh. She claimed she'd told people at school months before and had been going by that name at school for some time. She told us that everyone at school, including the teachers, were supportive. Considering I had been in contact with the school regularly because of her mental health problems and the fact that she had many, many absences from school, I was stunned to find out that no one from school had contacted us about her transgender announcement. She had a scheduled visit to her psychiatrist that week that she announced she was trans, and she told her psychiatrist she was suicidal. So he insisted that we take her to our local public hospital for admission to the adolescent mental health ward. The psychiatric registrar who admitted our daughter to hospital said he thought that she had borderline personality disorder. After an all-night admission, which my husband accompanied her with, I went to the hospital to visit her the following day. When I asked to see our daughter, I was told that I had a son. Already above her name, her bed was the male name. I was aware that there were two other girls who attended her drama group who were also saying they were boys, so I was very sceptical of her announcement of trans. She had never displayed any signs of gender dysphoria. My scepticism was dismissed by the staff of the mental health ward. As parents who did not immediately affirm our child's declaration of transgender, we were shamed and bullied by the medical professionals in that hospital ward. All of our voiced concerns were swept aside, and we were put down by the hospital staff in front of our daughter, accused of being bigoted, not inclusive, and transphobic. We were told that we must accept that we now had a son or she would kill herself. They said, "Would you rather have a live son or a dead daughter?"